He started by strapping engines to bicycles in the rubble of post-war Japan. His own government tried to stop him from entering the auto industry entirely. Decades later, his company would out-engineer Detroit at its own game, using an idea nobody else believed would work. This is the story of Honda. Soichiro Honda was a self-taught mechanic and engineer with almost no formal education, obsessed with machines since childhood. After we devastated Japan's economy and infrastructure, fuel was scarce, and public transportation was in ruins. Honda had a simple but brilliant idea: attach small surplus military generator engines to bicycles, creating cheap, fuel-efficient personal transportation for a broke, desperate population. The idea took off. In 1948, Honda formally founded the Honda Motor Company, rapidly evolving from motorized bicycles into full motorcycles. By the 1950s and 60s, Honda had become the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, thanks to reliable, affordable bikes like the Super Cub, still one of the best-selling vehicles of any kind in history. Soichiro Honda, however, had bigger ambitions. He wanted to build cars, and specifically, he wanted to eventually challenge the American auto industry directly. Honda's ambitions faced resistance before they even started, from Honda's own government. Japan's Ministry of International Trade and Industry, MITI, held enormous influence over Japan's industrial policy in the 1950s and 60s, and believed Japan's auto industry needed to be consolidated among a few established players, Toyota, Nissan, rather than fragmented by new entrants like a motorcycle company with no car manufacturing experience. MITI actively attempted to block Honda from entering the automobile business, viewing it as reckless and unnecessary. Honda pushed forward anyway, launching its first cars in the early 1960s and entering the US market in 1970 with the Honda N600, followed by the Civic in 1972. Breaking into America was brutally difficult. Detroit's Big Three dominated with massive scale, deep dealer networks, and decades of brand loyalty, and Japanese cars were still widely viewed by American consumers as cheap, low-quality novelties. The real turning point, and the moment Honda proved its engineering philosophy, came from an unlikely source: emissions regulation. In 1970, the US passed the Clean Air Act, requiring dramatic reductions in vehicle emissions by 1975. Reductions that Detroit's own engineers publicly stated were essentially impossible to achieve without catalytic converters, an expensive add-on technology. Honda's engineers took it as a direct challenge, refusing to accept that a catalytic converter was the only path forward. In 1973, Honda unveiled the CVCC engine, compound vortex controlled combustion, an ingenious design that achieved a more complete, cleaner combustion process directly within the engine itself, without needing a catalytic converter or unleaded gasoline. It was installed in the redesigned Civic, and when the EPA tested it, the CVCC Civic didn't just meet the new 1975 emission standards, it exceeded them, using regular leaded gasoline at a time when American manufacturers were struggling and pleading for delays and exemptions. It was a stunning engineering achievement that embarrassed Detroit publicly and instantly established Honda's reputation in America as a serious, innovative engineering company, not just a cheap import. Combined with the 1973 oil crisis, which sent American consumers rushing towards small, fuel-efficient cars, Honda's timing and technical credibility created explosive growth through the late 1970s and 1980s. Honda went on to become the first Japanese automaker to build cars directly in the United States, opening its Ohio plant in 1982, and eventually became one of the most respected, reliable, and profitable car companies in the world, built on the foundation of a mechanic who refused to accept impossible as an answer, even from his own government.